Oh, of course I knew Bill. And he was a rather funny guy. When you'd first meet him, he would be sort of standoffish, like a physician. I am the physician, and you are the ignorant. And then he'd loosen up finally, and finally after about half an hour, he'd be calling me Paul, and so I met him numerous times, and I went to St. Louis and whatnot. And then he made an enormous grant application to the government. He showed it to me to get my approval because I'd been making similar things. And he even had how many ashtrays he'd need, and what they'd cost, all that. And so the government sent out a special crew to see him. And there was nobody on that crew younger than 65. These were all New England doctors. And then on their way back, they stopped off at the Institute and looked at us. As they were leaving, one of the senior members said, young man, he addressed me as, young man, have you heard of Dr. Masters? And somehow how he said that, I picked up on it. I said, oh, yes, I have heard of him. He's in St. Louis, isn't he? And this guy said, yes, he's in St. Louis, but have nothing to do with him. There's something twisted there. It was a machine. It had a plastic phallus, a little oversized, and it had a light shining through it. And it was mounted on with a motor. So it would go back and forth, and you could look into it, you could look through it because there was and so you get to look in and see the interior of the vagina. But unfortunately, the speed of this thing was entirely in the hands of the woman. And so he said, would you like a demonstration? And I said, yes. And then Virginia Johnson came in with a warm towel and put that on the penis, which I thought was a gentle thing to do. And then pretty soon a woman came wearing just a cloak and a pillowcase on her head with eyes that looked like the Ku Klux Klan, And she said she seated herself in the proper position and inserted the end of this thing and then started it up. And then, unfortunately, it started going faster and faster. And I was going, finally, I miscalculated. I got hit in the eye. I thought I'd have a black eye. And Masters laughed, and he said, yeah, the women, they start out slow, but they run at a top speed before every time, and no male can do that.